Okay, hello YouTube. This is Twinkit76. Want to do a video here, try to get a little more in-depth with the acrylics. I think that I need to explain them better. And after I've painted through the summer off and on, I've kind of got a little better idea on how to help with that. One thing I thought I'd start out here with is on this easel. If you have this Bob Ross 2-in-1 easel, show you there are screws right here in the corners where the canvas comes, and they're up here too as well. You can see right there, and that's what holds the easel in place. Now, sometimes with these little canvases, you gotta kind of get down in here, you know, and look down at it. Make sure you're aligned up with it, and then you gotta come up to the top. It's not as bad when you're doing it this way, but when you flip it over to paint it portrait style like this, then it gets a little trickier. You can see that with these smaller canvases, this is what the focus is on right now. This is a 12 by 16. You probably couldn't do, I would recommend this size with this easel at least, if you're going to do it like this, because anything smaller, you can see how the I'm sorry, you can't see. You can see how the screw is really close here, up there, right at the corner. So it's a tight squeeze in there, but you can get it to work. But today I want the painting to go this way, just for demonstration purposes. I think it'll be easier. I'll start from the bottom here. And these are cheap student canvases, nothing special about them. They're just, you know, so we have something to paint on. You know, when you're not working on something that costs you $10–20, it takes a little of the edge off. These are pretty cheap canvases. I buy them online. The brand is Practica Economy Stretch Canvas. They come in 2-packs, and you can order them in cartons of 20. That's the way I do it. And what else I can see on it? They're cheap. I get them off jerrysartorama.com. So, you know, if you live in the United States, you might want to check into that. Otherwise, all I can suggest is just try to shop around for the best deals in your area for that sort of thing. Okay. And I also realize that in other countries they have a different measuring system with the centimeters and such. So, you know, but I think you can kind of gauge the size and kind of find something similar. So, you know, it's 12 inches by 16, so figure that out in centimeters. I'm sorry, I'm horrible at math, and I couldn't tell you what that is. I could figure it out, could find out, but anyway, you get the idea. Moving on, here's a canvas that I painted. It's completely blue. I just wanted to tone the canvas, and I did that with just using my regular paint that I paint with, just the regular acrylic paint that I would use for painting. I think this was a brighter blue I had at the time. It might have been my other blue, bright blue, but or a mix of the two. But I just thought it was, you know, it gives you something different to look at than just the pure white all the time. It gives you something else to work with. And you can do this with any variety of colors and tones. It doesn't have to be this bright. You know, it could be a really light blue or whatnot. But, you know, I just kind of want that underpainting in there, so the whole canvas has this sort of blue tint to it. You know, if you're gonna have a lot of blue in it, like if I wanted to do like a lot of clouds and stuff, I mean, this is a pretty good way to go. Maybe I could have made it a little less bright, the color not so strong, maybe a little darker. It's like I have another canvas here, and I might have showed this before, but I can't remember. So I'm doing it over. But this one, it's hard to tell. It's got this greenish kind of tint to it. So it would be good for forest scenes, some kind of underwater scene, because it's got that kind of sea green shadowy color in there. It's kind of a little dusty. But I don't know. That's just a couple ideas for you on canvases, and I have this on in place here. Okay. What else do I want to show you? Okay. Now, this is the thing. This is a bottle of water, and when I started an acrylic painting, and I can't tell everybody how to do it. You know, everybody has to find their own way. I can just show you how I do things, and if that works for you, great. I know it's working for me for some things, and you know, it's a work in progress, and that's what we're all here to do, is learn. But anyway, a lot of times I like to start this is kind of my method now. I just mist the canvas up, and then I take this big brush. It doesn't have to be a huge brush like this, but all I want to do is just spread that water around it. I just want to get it nice and slick, and scrub that in there a little bit. I just want it damp, you know. It doesn't have to be like dripping, shouldn't be dripping wet. That's why I'm doing this part. You know, I just want to get it so it's wet and slick, you know. It's got you know, it's like a wet rock now. It's just slippery. So the paint glides on there nice. You don't want a lot of water if you use water. It's just there, just kind of makes it easier for me. Maybe it's a psychological thing, I don't know. But the next thing, okay, let's say we're doing a landscape, and I've had people say that, well, the paint's drying too fast, and they're having trouble, that the painting looks flat. So let's just start with, this is cobalt blue. I think that's an alright color for sky. Probably dim it down with some white. And we're going to try to just keep this like just a sunny blue sky. Nothing real fancy with a lot of colors. We're just going to keep it nice and pure and simple, down to earth. Sunny, bright blue day. And because that's where things can get really complicated as you go along, when you start trying to do different atmospheres with all these different colors to create these different atmospheres with the different lighting. Now you can see this is already pretty much dried up. I'm going to go ahead and spray it one more time. Grab the brush again. I know this probably seems kind of tedious and, you know, a lot of extra work, but it really makes it worth it, I think. Look at it at an angle too. You should see it. It should, you know, because you can't always see it when you're at the angle you're in front of, you know, looking straight on. You can't always see what's going on. You got to kind of look at things from the side. That's what I'm doing here. Whoops. Sorry about that. I thought I got that sprayed, but I can see from the side that I didn't. Well, now it's wet, and I have very little time to react, because in no time that water will dry out. So what I do, I would not recommend using these brushes. I have learned these spalter brushes aren't good for much except scrubbing on the water. They're good for that, or they're good probably for varnish. I've heard that people say that about these brushes, though I would contest that there are probably better brushes for that as well. What I like to use for a sky is this brush here. This is a Winsor & Newton 1-inch brush, series 995. I believe it is mainly for watercolor and acrylic, and I've had this brush a long time, and it's if you can see that good or not. I'm going to try to bring my light in a little closer here. Okay, I don't know if that helps, but you can see this brush is quite fluffed out. You know, all the paintings I've done scrubbing it out, and I like it that way. I like it nice and bushy, and the bristles are really fine. You can see that. You can see how fine those bristles are. That's what I want. I don't want a brush where the bristles are hard like this, and just I don't want to say crusty, but you know, just coarse. You know, I mean, these brushes have their purposes too, no doubt. I use these for the bushes, and they're about the same. They make nice little bushes and different foliage and things, effects. But if you can see this, this is how watercolor brushes are. They're always really fine, you know, and you want some of these for acrylics. So just because they might say watercolor, well, you can use them too for acrylics, because a lot of times the watercolor or the acrylics get watered down and end up almost taking on a watercolor consistency, because it gets so inky. It has an ink-like consistency. But you can see, you know, these bristles are really thin and firm. I mean, it's just like soft, thin hair. I don't know how else to explain them. You know, they're made out of probably some synthetic fiber, and I know they say some of these brushes are made out of hog hair or bristles, or other different types of so that's where they get their anyway. Yeah, I don't know all the names of the bristles. I'm not a bristle expert, but I do know just by feeling like this is pretty firm, but it's got a thinness in there. I like this for not just spreading the water on, but for also for blending a sky out. Though I don't need it too much on these bigger paintings. On the smaller canvases, I need them more for the bigger ones. See, here's another brush. You can see how thin those bristles are, and this is number 2-inch Daler Rowney. I don't know if I said that right. I got it at Walmart. Around $7-8. And it's become one of my favorite brushes for doing skies, because it blends out so nicely, and you'll see that in a minute. And this brush is pretty much dry. Yeah. And okay, now and I can still feel that this is a little bit damp, but I'm gonna go ahead and spray it again. I know I got a little ahead of myself when I started it the first time. Oh, I can use this too. That way it keeps as much. You don't want it really sopping wet. You want to get a nice dampness to it. Of course, the wetter you get it, the longer it'll take to dry. Whoops, sorry about that. Where I want to move my arm is camera's kind of in the way for this part. When I get into more detailed things, see, I'm getting a lot of this brush. I don't know, they caught a lot of lint in there. I'm gonna use this brush instead. Those brushes that these ones, I would save them for oils mainly to start out, but they're not the highest quality brushes. I bought them, you know, a lot of low price brushes, and here I am using definitely one of the more costly brushes, but so it does pay, you know, to buy the quality brushes, and as long as you take care of them, they should last a long time, and you'll get your money's worth out of them. So pay for themselves someday. So, but you know, okay, now. Anyway, now this is all nice and damp, and it's starting to dry a little. The thing with this, I think I gotta grab a little more of the white. So we're gonna take now, and this paint here, you can see that it's really just like syrup. It's just syrupy. Like, you know how Hershey syrup is when it's just like room temperature and pours out of the can or the bottle. It's just like that, like maple syrup. If it's not real cold, because you know when stuff gets cold, it don't pour. Okay, but if it's like room temperature, that's why I had to say room temperature, because you know when things are cold, they just lock right up. Alright, so you can see how much paint, I think you can see that. I'm really getting a lot of paint on there. And I could have probably used a different brush for this, but that's alright. I'm just going to go ahead and just scrub that around here. Yeah, you do have to work kind of fast for this. You don't want to spend a lot of time, you know, just get it in there and try to get a nice even distribution of it. I know I'm kind of pulling a lot of things from the masters here, but that, you know, that's why they were the masters. They knew what they were doing. They had got it right. So, you know, and you can apply those same techniques and theories and philosophy and everything that they spoke of to teach can be applied right here on these acrylics. I know they can, because I've done it, and you can too. Okay, I'm just cleaning my brush right now. I want to get this nice and dry again. Just wiping on my rag here. Okay, now it's pretty dry, and this is still wet, but we gotta work quick here. I can take now I can take a coarser brush. It won't matter too much. And we gotta learn to work with whatever happens. So we're starting off with some blue. I think I'm gonna add a little more of the white in there. I don't want it really bright. So that's enough paint for a canvas like this. That's all the paint I need for a sky. I put this craft acrylic paint. That's it. Probably pretty much what I got there. So I'm just gonna go up in here, and we're doing the crisscross strokes, and we'll grab a little more of that paint. Okay, go like that. Yeah, come down. And don't worry about getting this perfectly blended. You're not going to get it that way. Your focus should be on just working down the canvas, and go kind of fast, you know. It might pay to warm up by doing a few stretches just to get your muscles limbered up, your wrists limbered up, because this is a fairly athletic process. Okay. Well, you see how the color is the paint's getting less and less. It's, you know, blue as we go down. That's what we want. I can go back in here. With this has been dried now, everything. And then blend that a little bit. And if I could do that, all this here with just a little brush, I could have done it a lot faster with this one, and probably should have. I could still come back in here. I have to stand up a little for a second because I'm getting a bit of a glare. I see this needs to be worked a little better, but I'm not too concerned with the edges because a lot of times I cover that up with dark, like trees and cliffs and things, because I like to have my edges here dark so the eye draws into the center. Let me just try to blend that in. See, I didn't get this even as good as I would have liked to, but that just means I probably can put in some clouds instead. You know, not every time I do a sky, you wonder how people put in all these clouds. Well, sometimes the sky doesn't work out as smoothly as they wanted. And it, every time I do a painting, it doesn't work out as I wanted. I was hoping it would have worked out better than this, but I might have probably needed more paint than I used. It does, the more paint you put up there, the longer it will take to dry. And this dried pretty quick here, but that's all right. You can see, you got to get used to, things not blending like they do with oils, and that's kind of one of the first steps. You got to get used to. But you can get there. It takes a while. And the main thing is, though, making this come down so it's lighter and it's darker here, because that's what you want. You don't want the paint to be the same tone through the whole thing. You might as well be putting it on with a roller, and that's, got to think of it that way. And I can come back in here, actually, honestly, if I want, and try to smooth this out a little more. I think I had more blue in there than I thought. I'm just taking some of the white. You can play with it a little bit to try to get that tone you want. Let's go on some of the pure white. Blending that up. Yeah. It's a trial and error thing. And there's barely any paint on here. I'm just seeing what I can get for effects here. I'm not sure I'm digging it. I get this glare from the camera. It works against me. But after I do something like that, then I'll kind of go like this, this kind of thing. Kind of picture, where can I frame this up, That shadow's kind of throwing me off here. But, like, I don't like this part. So this little line here from the back of the stretcher bar, and cover that up. And I look over here and go, I don't really like this area. This area seems to work the best now, I think. And I can take let's see here. Yeah, let's go with take a little of this crimson, and I mean, that's good enough for a backdrop. You know, I ain't done with the sky yet. I was hoping to show you more like a clear blue sky, but it didn't really work out that way. That's okay. Now I can just grab, I got this 1/2 inch Qualita angular brush. I've been using it quite a bit, and the bristles are really puffy. I just go in here, get a little of that red. I don't want much, I just want a bit of a purpley color here. Just blending that crimson together with this blue. It's making a nice grayish purple. And I can come in here and just, you know, it's all about pressure at this point, and shape. Just thinking of cloud shapes. You know, think where you want them the darkest, and you know, work them in. And just do stuff like this, and you know, that's all you need. It's all about pressure and getting a feel for how much paint is left on your bristles. That's important too. Get a feel for the colors and the tones. That's what it takes. Beyond that, it's just about plain brush strokes. See, I want that a little darker. I'm gonna try to get it a little darker. And I got into that white accidentally. Okay. I probably would have to add a little more of the blue, since it's too red now. Let's see. Grab a little of that blue. Don't be afraid to use your paint. You know, it never pays to skimp on your paint. If you need more paint, grab it. Okay. Now, yeah, that's so much better, I think. And a little more of that blue. And sometimes these canvases has a hard time picking up that paint because it's so wet under there. Sometimes you gotta let it dry a little bit. So, okay. You know, these ain't the greatest clouds, I admit, but they're different. You know, and it's got a flow to it, you know, the way they're coming together, I think. And it's got a nice pattern. Yeah. It's really not wanting to stick too good here. In fact, I'm getting kind of a wet on wet feel for it because the paint's wet there. Well, that's alright. It's just for demonstration purposes. We're experimenting around. This paint is really tough here, and you can't get the paint to slide, but we're trying. Experimenting with it. It's all about learning how to play with all the different viscosities of the paint, the different, you know, how thin it is, how thick it is. You gotta learn how to work with it, not just what's on your brush, but what's on the back of the canvas. Whoops, I'm supposed to do that. Sometimes you can rub those away with your finger if you get at them real quick. Get some most of it. And you can touch it up to the white if you want. Could add a little bit of the water, really, and see how much easier that paint sticks now that there's water dripping. You can just do a whole canvas full of clouds. If you don't like your sky, fill it up with clouds. Don't look like much for clouds, I suppose, but it's a start. You can highlight them down the road, or maybe it's it's a distant hillside. Who knows? You know, they're just indications at this point. It could be anything. Yeah, I just get in there. Sometimes I got little goodies way down on my, way down on my furrow, and I just rub them off there. It kind of makes for little happy accidents sometimes. Sometimes it don't work out so well, though. Okay, so that gives you an idea. And of course, I can play around a little more here. I got this brush that was wet, kind of dried on me. I just stick it in my water, then I blot it out on my rag, and rub it off mostly. It's still got a little wet paint. Here's another way you can see if this works. There's a little bit of paint on there, and it's just enough for me to kind of miss things out here a little bit. Of course, over here it's not working as good because the paint's not dry. But it made kind of an interesting effect. I don't know if you can see that too good. I might have blotted out too much of it. Didn't want to go overboard. I don't know. It's all experimenting. Don't work the same every time. And if I wanted, if I decide, well, I don't think that those clouds look too good, maybe I'll add, take another brush, and this is a Lowell Cornell angular shader. It's basically like the last brush I was using. It's nice and dry. Take a little of this crimson, not a whole lot, more of the white. I don't want it to be pure white. You don't want that. You don't want to use pure white or pure black in your work. There's no pure white or pure black in nature, so don't use it in your paintings. Now you can just come back and frost these up here, and this will help make the clouds. And this is all about feeling out the shapes. You know, you gotta get a real good feel, and it'll come with the practice. How to shade things just the way you want them. I mean, I know I'm not doing it perfect, but I'm doing it better than I would have 20 paintings ago, or even 5 paintings ago. Its improvement might not be a lot, but it adds up over time. You know, it's just like building muscle. You know, if you lift weights, you're not gonna be a big Hulk overnight. You're gonna, it takes a while to build up to where you look like, so, this is just something you can do. Down here, I'm gonna gray out that blue a little. I don't want them so bright here. I don't know. Get a little more of that white there. Red. Let's scrub around here. Don't take much of that blue. Gotta be careful. I don't really want it pink though. More of a purpley. Nice warm. It's just playing around. After a while, doing these, you can get a good feel for it. What you need. I don't know. If that looks anything like a sky or not. See, notice, in the oils you would blend these back, but I don't bother doing that. I think they look just fine the way they are. I mean, I could kind of go back and add a few, things here and there, just to try to, it's not nowhere near as bright as the first highlight I put on. It's just a little bit there to kind of bring the two together, the highlights and shadows together. See that? And let's help it make it look a little more natural there. For the most part, I'm sure it's you can overdo this easily, so you have to have to watch what you're doing there. But I think that helped. It's like maybe a few spots in here it's quite coming together. I don't know. Can't quite get that one the way I wanted it. But, let's see. Okay. I think that's good for lesson enough for one day. I was gonna say another thing I was gonna show you that I didn't really get around to. Maybe I should save this for later, but if you're spraying and there's an area you don't want to cover over, you just use something like this. I seen airbrush artists doing this when they wanted to spray paint their area, and then they would cover something up so they didn't get, so if you just want to wet one area, let's say, okay, this is my sky, I don't want to mess with that, but I want wet canvas, so you come in and you spray right here in this whole area so you can get the canvas wet. Maybe you want to put a big giant cliff here or something, or a big house here or something, or whatever, I don't know, but whatever you want, like a waterfall or something, and you want that canvas wet, so you can spray it right here. Okay. But this is how I work in layers. You start off with the atmosphere color you want. Today it was a blue sky. Some days you want like a pink sky or multiple colored sky, depending on what time of day. You got to decide when you started painting what time of year it is, what's the season, and what time of day. You got to know these things. You got to know that much when you first start. And then I would recommend that you use a limited palette, about 3, 4, 5 colors most. Red, yellow, blue, black, white. That's really all you need. You can make any color you want with those colors, pretty much. Well, you can make green, you can make brown, orange, purple, with those colors if you just mix them together, right? So, but I'm not going to get into all that right now. But I just want to explain like how you can work these acrylics and make them not look like dull or flat, or be able to work with them. You got to be quick, yeah, but there's a way to do it, to be smart about it, so you don't get yourself caught in trouble. Start with a small canvas. Work with a small canvas. Those big ones, okay, those are very challenging. Even for me, I get frustrated with them sometimes. But so if you start with these little ones, I think you're gonna like it a lot more than the bigger canvases. And if you just kind of worry about one layer at a time, one plane at a time. We started off with the atmosphere color, the sky color, and brought it down. And then we went in and I put in some cloud shadows, and then I came back with the cloud highlights. And there's not a whole lot we're looking at up here, but it's the start of something, right? The next layer would be like a range of trees, of distant foothills, and a distant valley, plains, something lost in the distance. And that's kind of one of the funner things, because all you're doing is making indications, so it's really free. You're really free to do something there that you don't have to worry about a lot of detail, and you just get that layer in, and then you come up a little bit more to some closer trees, and then you can add like treetops and things, and then come in with another layer that's middle ground, and then another layer that's like foreground. Don't worry about getting a lot of layers. In my painting videos, I try to keep them simple and not with a lot of layers, but though I do seem to end up putting in more layers than I first intended. But the important thing is to get that draw, you know. This definitely needs more of a glow, I think. You know, I like that glow that kind of pulls your eye towards the center, or you know, kind of off center. This is about the center where I'm gauging, right? And I would want that glow around here, here, depending where I want the light to come from. If it's here, then, you know, but in this painting I would want it here because highlights are coming here. Well, the way these clouds are showing, you would think that the highlights, that the sun's shining right here because there seems to be shining down there, but whatever. You get the idea. In this painting, wasn't looking to put a sun in there. I just wanted to, you know, show what you can do with the sky, how you can do it in acrylics, and how to make it so you can deal with the fast drying paint, and make that work for you. I hope that I was able to be helpful on that. I think that's about all I'm going to show you right now. Okay, thank you. Thanks for watching, subscribing, commenting. Till next time, bye.